Good morning and welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. I'm Tommy Price. Glad to be here. Glad to have you there on a Wednesday morning, halfway through August. Well, basically halfway through August. A lot happening in the world of sports as always. Plenty of hot sports topics. Ronnie Rant's going to join us in just a couple of minutes as we kick back the start time on today's edition of Sports Shorts Daily. Appreciate you watching on YouTube, X, or Facebook. Wherever you're watching, we always like to ask you to like and share this show. That helps everybody out involved. I am live and in color from Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, Jefferson Highway, Baton Rouge, where today they got that hamburger special for lunch. Hey, check this out. Burger and fries, $6.99. The world-famous Tremonti's Burgers. The Tremonti's Burgers that are the official burger of the Baton Rouge Rougarou. $6.99 burger and fries. You can eat it here. We have some tables and stuff, or you can get it to go. Bring a bunch of them back to the office. The Wednesday hamburger special with fries, $6.99 at Tremonti's. Ronnie Rance will be joining us. Compliments of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame studio, lasportshall.com. Lots of stuff happening. I'm rocking the Sports Hall of Fame polo today. And as always, Sports Shorts Daily and Sports Shorts Radio, presented by the LeBears Casino and Hotel in Baton Rouge, where the sports book's about to be rebranded to ESPN Bet. We'll be telling you all about that as we go forward. You can make them football futures bets, LSU, college football, the NFL, the New Orleans Saints, Major League Baseball rocking and rolling. And don't forget, at the LeBears, the Edge Lounge, back left corner of the casino floor, lots of entertainment, live music Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The Edge Lounge, been very popular all summer long. You need to check that out. And, of course, 18 Steak for all your fine dining needs. All right, like we always say, like and share this show. Appreciate that very, very much going forward. A lot happening in the world of sports. We're going to tell you everything about the New Orleans Saints. Alvin Kamara got some back tightness issues. What is back tightness? Hard to do anything in the world when you got back tightness. It's really hard to be a running back in the NFL. New Orleans Saints, a couple of more injuries that have occurred in the training camp. They were supposed to have some joint practices with the San Francisco 49ers Thursday and Friday. The teams mutually agreed to postpone that, not do that. And it was more so the 49ers, who apparently have more injuries than anybody in the NFL. They've had a lot of injuries. But Sunday night, the Saints will play the 49ers out on the West Coast. It's a 7 o'clock kick. Saints are a 2.5-point favorite, I guess, because of all the injuries to the 49ers. That'll be a 7 o'clock kick Sunday night, the New Orleans Saints. And, of course, LSU football, the Associated Press poll came out this past Monday, shortly after Hunter McCann and I did Sports Shorts Daily. The LSU Tigers, number 13 in the poll. We guessed they'd be about 12, 13, 14, and they landed at 13. It's a preseason poll. As always, Notre Dame's way overrated. They're too high. They won't be in the top 15 at the end of the year. I don't know why the Associated Press continues to do that, but so do the coaches poll. But anyway, LSU 13. Does it really matter where you're at in the preseason poll? It gives us something to talk about. Doesn't matter a whole lot. What you do starting for LSU on Sunday, September 1, will determine where you're going to end up in the poll. Because the big wrinkle, the big difference this year in college football, among other things, 12 teams in a playoff. 12 teams in the playoff. See, I'm old enough to remember when we used to do all this radio in Baton Rouge, and when I started in Covington in New Orleans. Well, would there ever be a playoff? And, then you got the 2-team thing. Then you got the 4-team thing. Now you got the 12-team thing. Finally, long overdue. And then, that 13th and 14th team, they're going to raise hell. They're going to complain when they don't get in. But that's the way it goes. 12 teams will be in. Most people think 4 from the SEC, 4 from the Big Ten. We'll see how that plays out. Lots going to happen between as we go forward through the college football season into those rankings and those playoffs, which is going to be pretty exciting. There's some other college football changes and rule differences that we'll get into. There'll be a 2-minute warning at the end of the half, at the end of the game. Like the NFL, there'll be a 2-minute warning in college football. I think that's a good thing. It adds to the game, adds to the strategy for both coaching staffs. And then how long until that trickles down to high school, huh? 2-3 years. It could end up at the high school level, no question about that. So we'll see what we got going with the college football as we get a little closer, which we are close. we'll have some more information on there's a couple other rule changes going on. As we mentioned Monday when Hunter McCann was here, the Olympics have come and gone. Still a lot of controversy. Too many side stories for me. The thing with the bronze medal for the USA gymnasts, I mean, that's just a terrible situation. And I don't know. I don't think Paris, France will ever get the Olympics again, the way they botched so many things. I mean, it just was too many side stories for me. You had a guy winning a gold medal in women's boxing. Well, to me, that just puts the end to it there. Now, the Olympics in 4 years, as you know, will be in Los Angeles. Baseball will be a sport that's added. Looking forward to that. Will MLB pause the season and let the major leaguers get in there? We'll have to wait and see on that. A lot of ground to cover between now and then for that. We'll just wait and see. Now, hey, don't forget Sports Shorts Radio each and every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. This coming Saturday, we'll be live from the Walk-Ons in Brewley. Always love going over to Brewley, just a couple of minutes over the Mississippi River Bridge, and we'll do the show from 10 to 12. Now, I know but you got an LSU football game kicks off at 11 o'clock a little later on in the season. So I'm sure that that week we'll have to adjust Sports Shorts Daily to bounce around the LSU schedule. There's the guy, Ronnie Rance, back in Baton Rouge with a what is that on your shirt?
It's the little Tommy Bahama, a little tropical. I got some hula girls on here.
You're going to the Bahamas soon, and I need to know what the hat's for too. I mean,
well, for those few people that have watched the show, and I know you don't watch TV, Tommy, unless it's a baseball game or a football game. But there's a TV show called Vanderpump Rules. It's on Bravo Channel, and it's probably been on about 12 years, and it's my guilty pleasure show. It's a reality show. It actually initially, the show, probably for the first, I don't know, I'm going to go with 6 years or so, it had a girl from New Orleans on the show. And it takes place, it's a spinoff show from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And one of the original ladies, Lisa Vanderpump, who was on the first season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, her and her husband were multimillionaires. One of the things that they did was own restaurants and nightclubs and stuff in the LA area. And so since then, during this 12 years, there was another nightclub called Pump. There was a restaurant called Tom Tom, all these other things that they opened up. But sir, I went to this restaurant when LSU was playing UCLA. That was the old sissy blue shirt game where LSU got their ass beat by UCLA after Ed Ogeron said something about their sissy blue shirt. That was the first game of 2001. And anyway, the night before that game, I had gone to serve for dinner. There was a bunch of LSU people at the restaurant for dinner because it's such a famous place because of the TV show and whatnot. Now, I'll be completely honest, Tommy. Most people who watch Vanderpump Rules on the effeminate side, mostly women and a few others that wish they were, usually watch Vanderpump Rules. I am a proud heterosexual male who has no problem admitting that they're a fan of Vanderpump Rules. The back of the hat actually says Sexy Unique Restaurant. That's what SIR stands for, Sexy Unique Restaurant. And it is a very sexy, chic, restaurant, hip kind of place. Good food, really good food. Goat cheese, fried goat cheese balls, appetizer. You dip it in like a jelly sauce. That's one of their more famous things. But anyway, really, so good memories. Got the hat while I was there. Cost $100 off of a waiter. This is the only hat you can get. They don't sell these hats. You had to be on the staff to get this hat. And a buddy of mine actually bought it for me and gave it to me. He knew I loved them so much. He was like, "Hey man, where can we buy that hat?" And the little busser was like, "Nah, you can't get it. They give these to us. We work here and all." He's like, "No, I mean, how much for that hat?" And, I can't sell the hat. He goes, "I'll give you $100. The guy took it off, handed it to me. I guess that was the magic number.
There you go. You got Danny says his wife loves that show.
Yes.
And Vanderpump Gardens, he says, Ronnie, go to Vanderpump Gardens and Caesar's Palace when you go to Vegas. Pretty cool place. So Danny chiming in that he's aware of everything you said. Me, I just learned a lot about. I've heard you mention that show before here on Sports Yours Daily.
Yeah, there's two shows on the Bravo channel I watch: Below Deck Anything and Vanderpump Rules. And I have been by in Caesar's Palace. I have gone and seen. I went by, walked by the restaurant that he's referring to. But this time around, I definitely will at least go have a drink at the bar and go check it out over at Caesar's while I'm there for the LSU game.
Nick Nookie says he's guilty. He started watching
Yeah.
after the Sandoval cheat broke the internet, and he hates himself for watching. There's Nookie. Hey, look, who knew we'd be talking about this?
Yeah, Nookie, it takes a strong man to admit it, man. You just got to own it. But yeah, no, what he's talking about, Tommy, is about a year ago, Tom Sandoval, who's one of the guys on the show, he and his well, they weren't married, but they were living together like they were married, had a home together. They were together for years. So his live-in girlfriend, but like his wife, Ariana. They Tom and Ariana had this relationship going back a decade, and Tom ended up, not only is he cheating on Ariana, but he was cheating on Ariana with another girl that's on the show. And all this is real life stuff. I mean, it's not scripted. And so this was a tremendous scandal. This Ariana girl who went from being not really one of the more liked girls on the show. She was sort of milk toast. She wasn't one of the more outgoing ones. She was just kind of there. There wasn't a lot of controversy around her. She became this poster child for, women power, and everybody felt sorry for her, and it elevated her to a whole nother level. This girl's made tons of money over the last year plus being the victim of this situation, and people have felt sorry for him, and Tom has been vilified. It's a scandalous deal. But yeah, so this in real life, somebody who had never watched the show is probably going, what is going on? What is everybody talking about? Tom and Ariana and cheating. And so somebody like Nookie had to look it up, had to go check it out, got to go find, you had to get into the show to figure out what the heck was going on. And it was pretty incredible. But anyway, yeah, that's it. That's it. I had a couple times a year.
Okay, let's get to the important stuff. How did the golf match versus Louis unfold? I had a partial report from you the other day, but I don't know how it concluded. Update us on the Louis golf match with you.
Yeah, Luis Garcia, my former roommate, helps run Garcia's Seafood down on the Miami River in Miami, one of the best restaurants in Miami. So if you ever go down there, go to Garcia's Seafood. Ask for Louis. You'll see the LSU football helmet, LSU baseball helmet, all behind the bar upstairs. So when he was in Baton Rouge a few weeks ago, he and another buddy, Danny, were in Baton Rouge a few weeks ago. We went and played with Blair Barbier a couple days and some other guys, and I beat Louis 3 straight days. Well, now when I went down to Miami, we played at a golf course called the Silver Fox. It's a Trump Doral course. So Trump, the old Doral, which, the home of the Blue Monster, there's like 4 courses. There's Golden Palms, Red Tiger, and Silver Fox, along with the Blue Monsters. There's 4 courses at this resort called Trump Doral. And the Silver Fox beat me up. I didn't play well. Louis beat me by, 6 strokes on the first day. And then on the second day, we played his home course and we tied. We shot the same score, but he was giving me 3 strokes. So I actually won the match play side, 1 up. So basically 1-1, Tommy. So I'm 4-1 against them in the last month. I'll take that.
Well, that's 80%. That's a good thing. 80% is good in a lot of things that you do in the sports world. Ronnie, LSU football, the Associated Press poll came out Monday after Hunter McCann and I concluded Sports Yours Daily. Tigers right where Hunter and I thought, and you had said it on the radio Saturday, 13th in the AP poll. What does the preseason poll mean? Not a whole lot, but it gives us something to talk about.
Yeah, it's sort of a bearing. A lot of times those polls are not very accurate. But look, the bottom line is that pretty much all the polls have LSU right there on the bubble of getting into the playoffs. And they're picked to finish 5th out of 16 teams in the SEC. it would be pretty surprising if 5 teams got into the playoffs from one conference. It would be pretty surprising. Um, but I think it's realistic to think that 4 could. I think it's realistic to think that 4 in the SEC could. Probably the top 2 teams for sure will be in the playoffs, and then probably the next one and then another one. So I think it's realistic for LSU if they can surpass expectations and finish 4th in the SEC versus 5th, then chances are they're going to end up in the playoff. Now, if all these other conferences fall by the wayside or have some bad years or whatever the case may be, then maybe, just maybe, the 5th place team in the SEC can get into the conference. Now, this is why it's more realistic. With 16 teams in the SEC, you don't play everybody. You don't play, everybody. So depending on how the records can fall, if you get the right matchup and you don't have to play a Georgia or an Alabama in the same year, well, then you might end up, with one loss because you don't have to play any of these big dogs, right? And so I think that's I think from LSU standpoint, I think 10-2 gets LSU in to the big dance to have a chance. I think 10-2 is a lock that they get in. 9-3, oof, they would have to have a lot of help. It would have to be like a 2007 year where they had 2 losses and won the national championship. That's just low percentage and usually doesn't happen.
Well, and keep in mind, no more East and West divisions. You got all 16 teams in there. The 2 teams with the top winning percentage go to Atlanta to play for the SEC title, and there's going to be a bunch of tiebreakers because in theory it's going to end up with you're going to need a tiebreaker. In fact, I'll predict that right now. There'll be a tiebreaker situation that determines both of the teams from the SEC that play in Atlanta for the championship. You would think both of those are in the college football playoff, pretty much a guarantee on that. Same thing with the 2 teams in the Big Ten. So it's going to be fun to let that unfold. Ronnie, another thing I mentioned right before you jump on, one of the big differences in college football this year, 2-minute warning at the end of the half and at the end of the ball game, which they'll throw some strategy in there. I mean, we see how it affects tight NFL games, offensively, defensively. I mean, it plays a key in the outcome of the game. And I wondered, how long till that trickles down to the high school level with the 2-minute warning? Probably 2-3 years. It'll come on down. We'll see. But that's going to be a difference for LSU fans and college football fans, that 2-minute warning thing.
I like the 2-minute warning. The only thing I'll say to that is, the high school football in Louisiana, and I'm assuming a lot of other states, they don't usually just kind of create those rules by themselves. They get created when other people do them as well. But there's that heat timeout that they have in high school.
Hydration timeout, yeah.
Yeah, hydration timeout it's called. And I want to say, Tommy, and I don't know the rule, but whenever the temperature is above a certain number, 75, 80, whatever, whenever there's a game where the temperature starts off above something, which inevitably is the month of September and probably a lot of the October even, depending on the year, there is a hydration timeout where they take a break halfway through the first, second, third, and fourth quarter. Well, if you're going to do that, in addition to the timeouts you already have, I mean, that's enough timeouts. So we don't need to be stopping the game any more than that. So that would be my only hesitation in high school is if you're going to also have the hydration timeout, do we really need the 2-minute warning? That's the only thing I'd say.
Yeah, we'll let that play out a little bit. Ronnie, the New Orleans Saints were supposed to have joint practices with the 49ers tomorrow and Friday. The 49ers asked to put that off because they've got so many injuries. Saints agreed, obviously. It came out as a mutual decision. But the Saints do play the 49ers Sunday night out on the West Coast, 7 o'clock kick Sunday night. Saints a 2.5-point favorite. That might be because of all the injuries to the 49ers. But Alvin Kamara is out with a back issue. It's hard for me and you to do Sports Shorts Daily with back tightness, much less be an NFL running back. And there have been other injuries with the Saints, and the camp's been kind of okay so far, but they got a couple weeks to clean it up. They will have a home preseason game Sunday, the 25th, in the Dome, 1 o'clock kick. But a lot of people, down on the Saints. I am. I don't think they're going to win a lot of games. So we'll have to see. But your thoughts on the Saints as they head into their second preseason game? Carl Dunn says most teams pricing at night when it's less hot, and that's true, Carl. In fact, I know all the middle school teams are practicing very late in the evening as well, and those that have lights are doing it under the lights. But we'll see how the Saints can get some things going. Regular season with the NFL not that far away.
There's nothing that's come out of camp to make you feel warm and fuzzy about this team. It's not like they've uncovered all these stars or that they're super healthy or there's nothing. We went into camp thinking that the over-under in Vegas was 7.5 wins, and that why would you think they would have more than 7.5 wins, other than to say that you're guessing that the division is going to be so bad that the Saints are going to be able to take advantage of that. One problem in the history of football in the NFL, you don't win with a bad offensive line. You just don't. I mean, we talk so much about all the specialty positions. We talk about the 4-star and 5-star receivers in college football and running backs and quarterbacks and all those things. But at the end of the day, when you want to know why Alabama has been the best team in football for the last 20 years, it's because of the offensive and defensive lines are better than everybody else. Yeah, they've had good other players too. Don't get me wrong. But anytime that Alabama's won national championships, it's because they've got the best offense and defensive lines first, and then you go to the next thing. And the Saints are screwed. I mean, they've got a terrible offensive line. At best, they can be passable. Like you hope the data proves that they're not the 30th or 31st offensive line in football, that they can be the 21st, maybe. Like that's the best they're going to be. I mean, and so because of that, how can you have optimism about this year's team when you're already going in there questioning your quarterback and questioning Kamara? Is he going to be with them? And what's left in the tank? And you got all these question marks about these other spots. And the main thing is the offensive defensive line, and your offensive line, at least right now, is expected to be trash. So take the under 7.5. Don't look back, and there's nothing in camp that's leading you to believe otherwise.
Well, I'll say this, Ronnie. I watched the game the other night when they beat the Cardinals with the late field goal. Two things I was impressed with. Willie Gay Jr., the linebacker who's been with the Chiefs the last 5 years, Mississippi State guy. He's got a high motor. I was impressed with him the other night. And also I was impressed with Spencer Rattler. When they took him in, the 5th or the 6th round, I kind of scratched my head like, really? Spencer Rattler? He looked a lot better than I thought he might. Guaranteed he was in. Granted, he was in the second half of the first preseason game. Who knows what the Cardinals had on the field, but I like the way he moved, and I don't know, just the body language. That eyeball test thing? I just kind of liked Rattler the other night a little more than I thought I might. Certainly when they picked him, I was like, what? But, Jake Hayner had better numbers, but I like Rattler.
He definitely has the confidence. I mean, anybody who followed this guy's story and watched either the documentaries when he was in high school that followed him through high school to his days at Oklahoma, days at South Carolina. I mean, there's a swagger about him. There's a confidence about him. He thinks he's the best player in the field. And I tell you what, that's worth a lot, especially when you're a rookie and you're going in there to an NFL camp. And, the game speeds up and the athletes are better and stronger and faster, but yet you still think you're the best player in the field. That's worth a little bit. And I think that's kind of what he's been all his life. And he's not the biggest, but he's got a strong arm. He can move around. He's been the man wherever he's been. He thinks he's the man. And so that wouldn't surprise me if he does a little bit better than we think. Tommy, we're going to get out of here. We got our Louisiana State boxing and wrestling monthly commission meeting going on. Some big news going on. We're trying to, if you saw Dustin Poirier, the outstanding MMA fighter from Lafayette, he tweeted out the other day, hey, UFC, y'all need to come to the Cajun Dome. We put a picture of the Cajun Dome up. He's trying to get the UFC to come to Louisiana, particularly the Cajun Dome. And so don't know if that's going to happen. We behind the scenes, obviously, are trying to encourage it and do what we can to help. But it would be a good thing, no doubt about it, if that could happen. But all right, we'll be back, Friday for more Sports Shorts Daily. I'll let you take us out of here, Tommy.
All right, don't forget the lunch special today at Tremonti's. Burger and fries, $6.99. You can eat it here. You can get it to go. Order a couple of them to go. Bring it back to the office. The world famous hamburger, the official hamburger, the Baton Rouge Rougarou. And today, $6.99 gets you one of those burgers, all dressed up with the fries at Tremonti's. That's an every Wednesday special. So keep that in mind. If you already got plans today, hit this up on another Wednesday. As we always do, we ask you to like and share this show. That helps everybody, no matter whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or X. Yes, it's on all three of them platforms. You can contact us. We can make sure you got it. Like and share this show. We're back Friday morning with another episode of Sports Shorts Daily. On behalf of Ronnie Rance and the entire gang here at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, I'm Tommy Christ saying, have a good day, everyone.